Here are the top 5 comps you have to play from our team of Challenger experts. Our first comp today is Noxus Empire for a second week running. It is a fairly popular comp though, so be careful about being contested. As you'd expect, it uses a full Noxus team with the 3 cost units Darius and Katarina as your main damage carries. The resets and burst these 2 units provide is insane, especially if you do manage to get them both 3-starred and itemized. In the late game, you also want to activate 3 Shurima to bring in some extra power to compete with other late game boards, as an Azir in the backline with a Rage Blade is not to be underestimated. Your full comp will consist of Darius, Katarina, Azir, Sion, Nasus, Kled, Swain and Cassiopeia, and for the legend, we'd recommend going for Draven to help you hit those 3-starred carries easier. This is a slow roll comp that focuses on hitting level 7 at around the end of stage 3. So that you can immediately start focusing on rolling down to 3-star your main carries Darius and Katarina. And also don't forget about 3-starring Swain if you can too, as he will be your main tank and help stall the fights for your carries to sweep enemy boards. Getting Darius geared up with his best in-slot items is definitely your best bet, so aim for BT, Titan's Resolve and Hand of Justice to watch him simply annihilate enemy boards on his own. If you can't find the perfect items though, Giant Slayer or Edge of Night can also be great items. After that, you want to load up your main tank Swain with defensive items like Warmogs and Gargoyle Stoneplate before finishing off by itemizing your secondary carry in Katarina. She works best with a Hand of Justice, Jeweled Gauntlet and an Arctic Spark. Once you do get to the later stages of the game, try to also start bringing in a few items for your Azir, and if you do get him a Rage Blade, GG well played. As for augments, a Noxus Heart crest or crown on Azir will round off this comp perfectly and help you scale against late game boards easier. Another S tier augment for this one is Total Domination, which is just ideal when running any Noxus focus comp. Don't forget about Idealism either though, as it will grant you a Hand of Justice which you can immediately throw on either of your main carries. If you didn't know already, we have full in-depth video guides of the strongest S tier comps so far this patch on our website and desktop app. We also have augment recommendations, the best in-slot items, replacement units and even the best legends to play with these comps too. So if you do want to learn how to master Noxus Empire, then click the link in the description. Comp number 2 is called Bastions, which uses a full Ionian team with Yasuo as your main carry and Shen as your main tank. You can also use Kai'Sa as a backup carry and other trait synergies like Challenger to get that attack speed ramping and the damage pumping. This full comp uses Yasuo, Kai'Sa, Shen, Karma, Taric, Set, Warwick and Irelia. As for your legend, we'd recommend just going for the standard Poro or even go for Ornn for those big items. This is another default leveling comp that wants you to save up gold until you hit level 7 to start rolling to find your Yasuo, Kai'Sa and Shen. If you do manage to find enough copies of these units to 2-star them, especially your Yasuo and Shen, you will genuinely struggle not to take home the win. In terms of items, your main priority is to get that Yasuo juiced up with the famous combo of BT and Titans, as well as an Infinity Edge third to seal the deal. You don't really need attack speed because you'll get a ton of that from your 4 Challenger trait bonus. After Yasuo, you want to try and get Shen tanked up with a Bramble Vest and a Redemption, or if you are in a very AP heavy lobby, don't underestimate Dragon's Claw either. If Yasuo and Shen are already taken care of, don't hesitate to further increase your frontline with defensive items, or go for some extra damage on Kai'Sa with items like Static Shiv. If you find an early Ionian emblem, then the decision to play this comp is just a no-brainer, allowing you to play it to its potential and giving you the boost you need to take home the win. Sentinel Spirit is another insanely strong augment literally made for this comp though, giving your Ionians 20% more attack speed and some shields too. Aside from that, generic augments that will boost this comp even further are Gifts from the Fallen or Job Well Done for a better chance of those perfect items. Arcane Wizards is back for another week running, and if you haven't been playing this comp already, then you're seriously missing out. This one runs with a full sorcerer board to gain an utterly ridiculous amount of ability power that simply destroys enemy boards like a hot knife through butter. You'll be using Lux as your main damage carry here. Jarvan will be your sorcerer emblem holder in the front line as your main tank, and then once you can find her later on, Ahri can slot into for some extra damage. Your full comp will be Lux, Ahri, Jarvan, Taric, Orianna, Vel'Koz, Swain and Malzahar, and you'll just want to use the traditional Pyro legend for this one, or Earth for that +1 sorcerer drop chance. This default comp wants you to save up gold until you hit level 7 and then go for copies of your main 4 costs, Lux and Jarvan. And if you do manage to find an early copy of Ahri, you'll have no issue getting the full 8 sorcerer trait bonus online. This is where Lux's laser will just shred through enemy teams with ease and help you secure the dub. When it comes to items, Lux is your main priority, so try to use an early item holder like Teemo to get these best in slot items ready to transition. Hextech Gunblade, Archangel's Staff and Jeweled Gauntlet are ideal, as the sorcerer trait bonus will give her a crazy amount of AP. After that, aim to get your Jarvan geared up with defensive options alongside the sorcerer emblem, and items like Warmog's armor and Protector's Vow are perfect. Aside from that, try to get some extra damage on your Ahri, with another Jeweled Gauntlet and a blue buff being great choices. Don't sleep on Chalice of Power either though if you do have extra tiers, as you can pop these on one of your backline sorcerers and place Ahri and Lux either side of them. Finding a sorcerer emblem is key to playing this comp to its best potential, so try to influence those augment selection rounds by running a sorcerer board as early as possible. Overcharged Mana Font is another no-brainer for comps based around sorcerers as well, and aside from that you can go for other strong item-based augments like Magic Wand and Medium Forge. Comp number 4 is Super Nash Bros, and this is definitely one you should be familiar with by now. This runs a full Void comp with Kai'Sa as your main carry in the backline. Bel'Veth will back her up later with some extra damage, and Cho'Gath will be your main tank. Now to pull off this comp you definitely need to find yourself a Void emblem, as there are only 7 Void units in the game. So if you do want to unleash that Baron Nashor at level 8, we'd recommend taking the Legend Earth to increase your chances of finding it. This full Void comp will consist of Kai'Sa, Bel'Veth, Cho'Gath, Rek'Sai, Vel'Koz, Kassadin, Malzahar, and finally Yasuo as your Void emblem holder. This is another default leveling comp, so aim to streak early and save up gold until level 7, and then find some copies of your main 4-cost unit's Kai'Sa, as well as picking up Yasuo along the way. If you do manage to find an early copy of Bel'Veth, you can finally lock in this comp and enjoy that freeload. As for items, you want to focus on preparing your Kai'Sa before anything else, and her best in slot choices are Rageblade, Morellos, and Archangels. If you can't find either of these, aim for any attack speed or AP focused items instead. After that though, you want to send anything defensive towards Cho'Gath in the front, and then focus on your secondary carry Bel'Veth, and she will help destroy teams with a rapid fire cannon and a Quicksilver. The most important augment for this comp, as we mentioned earlier, is getting that +1 Void, so keep an eye out for any Void Heart or Soul. Another S tier augment for this comp is Stable Evolution, which basically gives your entire board health and damage. You can also go for Dedication or Ancient Archives to help you get that emblem. Finally, we have comp number 5, which is called Shurima Nomads. As you may have guessed, this comp uses a full Shuriman team with the Emperor Azir as your main carry, and an absolutely stacked frontline protecting it. You'll have a couple of extra traits online in Strategist, Bastion, and Invoker, but the most important thing is activating 7 Shurima, and watching enemy boards disintegrate. Your full comp will include Azir, Jarvan, Nasus, Taliyah, K'Sante, Renekton, Shen, and Cassiopeia, and your legends to pick here are either Aurelion Sol or Caitlyn. As this is yet another default comp, you want to save up gold by streaking until you hit level 7 to find some copies of your core 4-cost units: Azir, Nasus, Jarvan, and Shen. If you do manage to find an early copy of K'Sante as well as picking up that Shurima emblem to put onto Jarvan, you will have a very good chance of taking home that first place. For your items, your best bet is to get Azir's items ready to go, so that when he joins the desert, he will instantly prove his worth. His best choices are Jeweled Gauntlet, Static Shiv, and of course, Quincy's Rageblade. Nasus is one of many frontliners in this comp, but he'll act as your secondary carry and damage dealer, so aim to get him a BT and a Titan's Resolve. Aside from that, just keep loading up your frontline with additional tanky items, and consider trying to find a few chalices to pop onto your Taliyah next to your main carry Azir. For augments, the most important thing when playing this comp is to get yourself a +1 Shurima augment, so make sure you're getting that trait online early enough to increase your chances of getting one. Another amazing augment for this comp is Shurima's Legacy, because as the name suggests, it's literally made for this comp. After that, you can go for any experience augments like Level Up, or you can just go for a generic item augment like Job Well Done. And that's going to wrap up our top 5 comps you have to play from our team of Challenger experts. If you did find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and let's continue climbing together in set 9. Good luck.